So we're sitting here with Tara, who works at the Rooms, and she's got a very important job at the Rooms and some very important roles in her. She's studied a lot of interesting academic things, and she's just full of knowledge. So I'm going to let Tara tell you all about herself.
Sure. Well, actually, I work a couple of jobs. The Rooms is one of them. My main job is with Heritage NL, which is a provincial organization, and I work with the intangible cultural heritage aspect, or the office, which is part of that organization. So that's kind of my main job. And then I also work part-time at the Rooms as an educator with the school program or the education program.
Awesome. So how did you get into working for the Heritage Group and at the Rooms? Like, what led you to that role?
I started taking, I went to MUN, and I didn't really want to go to MUN in the first place, but when you grow up in Newfoundland, it's kind of the expectation if you do okay in high school that you're...
Yeah, you go to the university.
Yeah, that you're going to MUN because it's the only university around. So I just told people that I was doing teaching so that they'd leave me alone and stop asking me what I was doing. So I started doing those prerequisites, and I started doing some folklore courses, and I took some more folklore courses, and the opportunity came up to go to Harlow, which is MUN's campus in the UK, for 2 folklore and 2 geography courses over the summer. So I did that, and that was awesome. And then the following summer, like that school year, I did a bunch more folklore courses, and then that following summer, I messaged who is now my boss, Dale Jarvis, and I said, I really like what you guys are doing. Like, if any jobs come up, I was like, I know there's this program where students can... It was a provincial government program where you would work, but you would kind of volunteer, and then you get a tuition voucher at the end. You get a small stipend throughout or whatever, and I was like, if you guys apply for that, I'll work for you.
Yeah, I've done things like that in the past, like the tutoring and all that sort of stuff. You get like a coupon at the end.
Yeah. So I was working with the city in the Kitty Plantation, which is a craft plantation.
Yeah.
But I gave them 2 weeks notice to go work for free with Heritage NL, which worked out in my favor. So then I went and started my master's. I applied and did my master's in folklore, and a work term came up at Heritage NL, and I applied and got that one. And then I did a work term in Labrador with Them Days, which is a magazine and archives. And then when I was up there, my current boss kind of approached me and said, would you like to work for us when you come back and you graduate? And I was like, 100%. So I've worked contract to contract in different projects ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what does the average day look like for you at your job with the Heritage Group?
Depends on the day, depends on the project. Like the project that we worked with Joni on, we had gotten some money through the Department of Children, Seniors and Social Development, and so we started this collective memories project where basically we were focused on collecting, so the preservation of material from seniors, and then also the promotion of that. So we did a couple of different projects in different communities on that, and then the next year we did kind of like a follow-up project, which was the Oral History Roadshow.
Oh, nice.
So we went to 10 different communities, Norris Point being one of them.
What other communities did you go to?
Ooh. We went to New Perlican, we went to Spaniards Bay, we went to Port Blandford, we went to Salmon Cove, Marysvale.
How were those communities chosen?
Well, initially when we started doing Collective Memories Project, where that was kind of with the government, they put out a press release and said, you know, if your community is interested, let us know. So we kind of had a running list of somebody who contacted us, and we also reached out to communities who we knew were pretty active in heritage. So yeah, the press release went out. We had like a running list of communities who said, we want to do something. And then for that particular project, usually what we do is we do kind of a first meeting with the community, what we've called mug-ups. So community members come in, have a cup of tea, and talk, and then figure out what they want to focus on so that the project is more focused.
Nice.
And then
so what kind of things do they want to focus on?
Sorry,
I'm being very specific.
That's okay. So for example, the first one we did was in New Perlican, and that kind of developed out of, we had done some asset mapping out there and kind of getting them thinking about the intangible pieces of the culture that were there and that were assets. And one thing that kept coming up were goats. So we did, the first one was the goats in New Perlican, so I did a series of interviews around people's history with goats, keeping goats, how they were used. You know, when the goats went in, that's when you knew rain was coming, because the goats were going to go hide down under flakes and things like that to keep out of the rain. So there's all this kind of goat lore, as we called it. Yeah.
Was there any other really interesting, like, little folklore tidbits that you learned?
Oh, for goats?
Or for anything, really?
We also did the second one that we did. I think it was the second one. It might have been the third. We did for Spaniards Bay was like folk cures. We called it folk cures and practical magic.
Nice. Yeah, I love that stuff.
So it was all about poultices, so bread poultices. Some people talked about mustard kind of being spread across your chest. All sorts of things for earaches, toothaches, you know, blowing smoke in your ear, chewing on a clove to get rid of the toothache. Charming things, so like charming warts, charming toothaches. So yeah, there were some definitely...
Have you ever used any of the folk cures?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Has that been documented anywhere, like online, where I could go and look at it now?
Yeah, so what we do with all of any interview that we do an oral history recording usually. Sometimes we do video, but mostly oral history because it's easier to process
of course,
and a lot less time consuming. So any interview that we do, we place it online. MUN has a digital archive, so all of our material's on there. So if you want to listen to an hour-long interview or a half-hour-long interview about goats, you can. But then what we usually do is we make the booklets. We print the booklets. We print out usually 100 copies for the community.
Oh, nice. So you give it back to the community.
Yeah, they can. We always go back and do a booklet launch, so they can use them however they want. We always make sure that anybody who participated gets one for free, and then if there's leftovers, often communities will sell them for a little bit of profit for their heritage community, or committee, I should say. And then we also do online PDFs, so they're on our website, MUN's DAI, and MUN has a little ICH section which we update to that as well.
Interesting. So you mentioned you also work at the rooms. What do you do at the room?
So at the rooms, I work with their education programs. So they have school kids come in from, I don't think I haven't worked with younger than like grades 2. And then up through, again, I haven't worked with more than junior high, but I know there are other programs in other departments that do those. So we have one for archaeology, so kids will come in and you know, we get them sitting down, we talk a bit about what archaeology is, what the past is, and then they're really hands-on, so we have different boxes made up, and the kids will dig for artifacts, and it's all about the maritime archaic Indians.
Yeah.
So they'll do kind of the digging downstairs, and then they'll go upstairs and learn a bit more about that culture.
Nice, that's very interesting. So what other levels of what does it look like your interest, like why did you get interested in this type of thing? Because I know you're from St. John's, right?
Yeah.
So how did you first discover this interest that you had for cultural heritage in the province?
I guess just like growing up, I lived in St. John's, but my Nana Pop, we go and visit my Nana Pop in Lower Island Cove every summer for a week. Well, we'd be there like usually once a month, and then a week during the summer, and then another week during the summer we'd often spend in Terra Nova, or we'd go somewhere else in the province that we haven't been. So growing up, I went to a lot of the small community museums and things like that, and I always found that fascinating. And I think in part my mom's mom used to tell all sorts of great stories and like rhymes. I don't know if you've ever heard. It's a nonsensical rhyme. It's one fine day in the middle of the night, 2 blind men got up to fight. Back to back they faced each other, drew their swords and shot each other. 2 deaf policemen heard the noise and came to rescue the 2 dead boys. It's a nonsensical rhyme.
Yeah, it's like oxymoron.
Yeah. But I just remember she had all sorts of rhymes and different stories that she would tell. So, yeah.
So do you think that preserving that and telling that story through your work with the Heritage Group or the Rooms, is that why it kind of resonates with you? That it's important to keep that going and to document it so it's there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love all of my jobs, and I love working with people. I love going into communities. and learning about different communities, and then being able to take that and preserve it, but also present it back to the community so that, you know, it's passed on through future generations, because I think preservation is key, but I also think promotion and transmission is just as important, if not more, so that it's not just kept, I mean, I say this as someone who works in a museum, that it's not just kept in a museum, that it's, you know, one of the quotes that my boss really likes to reference is take the objects out of their cases and make them sing. So like, you know, like a violin, if it's in a museum, that's great, that's one way to preserve it, but to promote and transmit, I think our intangible cultural heritage and our folklore, we need to practice them and pass them on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's been really great talking with you. I'm so
Likewise.
excited to go check out the website. What is the website? Where can I find that information again?
So, Memorial University's digital archives is collection.mun.ca. We also have material on MUN, which is just www.mun.ca/ich/resources.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to check that out.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for the interview.
I'm so used to being the interviewer and not the interviewee.
Yeah, that's been different for you. I should, so there's an Irish folklorist in Branch right now doing research between Wexford.
What's his name?
Michael Fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can like his page on Facebook.
Okay.
It's folklore.ie. And he's been interviewing people in Branch, so he's collecting like the dialect and the sounds and all that sort of stuff. But there's also talk around traditions and different things. One of which is really interesting is the May bush.
Yeah. Do you guys do that in Branch?
Yeah, we do. Not to the scale to which Michael and his family do it. It's more of a religious connotation for us.
Yeah.
Like it's May is the month of Mary or something. So people would tie blue ribbons and their trees in the yard. And there's still a couple of families that do it. But Michael and Eileen were telling me that the May bush there is sort of a symbol of like the longer days and the solstice and stuff. So they decorate their trees and they make them all colourful, not just blue, from the 1st of May till October when the time changes back again. So it's about like paying tribute to the sun and the light or something. But they've brought it to Branch, so they, in the house that they're renting, because they're in Branch for like a month, they decorated the tree in the front yard, so it's like almost like a Christmas tree.
Okay, several questions for you.
Yeah.
With May, have you guys ever done anything with May Queens?
No, people have May altars in their homes though.
Some communities have a practice, and I don't think I haven't heard of it being a current practice, but I know in parts of Labrador and Littledale and St. John's, a woman from Kilbride told me a story that they would crown a May Queen, so crown someone after Mother Mary, and they would, so similarly, they would have like a crown with ribbons on it in May, and they would be the May Queen.
Like a pageant?
Kind of, yeah, and then they do like a little parade. It was for the church specifically, but they would do a little parade. And the only other community that I know that's pretty active with May bushes is Torbay.
Oh yeah, cool.
Another quick question for you. Do you guys ever use red ribbons? Because somebody said that at an event we had recently that in their recollection May would be blue, and then June would be red ribbons.
That's another religious thing, isn't it? Because June is like for a different saint.
Yes,
Branch doesn't do it, but I know there's places. Because I thought about doing folklore at Mullen, so I went and talked to
Philip Hiscock.
Philip Hiscock. Oh, I love Philip.
I knew that's what you'd say. Because there's lots of props in there, but I was like, definitely Philip.
Yeah, a friend of mine was doing her master's in folklore, and she was like, go talk to Philip and bounce around some ideas with him. So I did. And he was also really into the May bush and stuff. So we had like a really great chat, and he was familiar with Branch, and his father had been some sort of agricultural person and had been in Branch like years ago in the 50s and 60s. So he was very familiar with it. So he was very eager to chat, and it was really cool. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other traditions now that Michael has discovered, like different words, especially like people call the rack a comb a rack, so you rack your hair. Different pronunciations of stuff too, like Slovene for a person you can't really trust.
Okay.
Yeah, so Michael was just most impressed with the similarities. So he's posting everything on his personal page, and then people, like he has friends on his Facebook from Wexford obviously, and people are commenting being like, oh my god, like it sounds just like so and so, and this person even looks like so and so. It's really cool, and people have just totally like accepted him into branch, like he's one of us now. And because his partner is there and his 3 little girls, and like his 3 little girls have made friends with other little girls in the community, so we're all mingled in now.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think his wife is performing at the Rooms, or she did perform at the Rooms on Sunday maybe, or maybe it's this Sunday, I'm not sure. She's really nice. Actually, I gave Fred her CD to play. She has a CD called Wexford Lovers, and it's all like Irish ballads. There's no music, and it's just her, and it's beautiful. Yeah. We're still being recorded, by the way.
I know.
Yeah.